Okay, it's going to be Mishnah 15 hour count. Um, Actually, in the thing we're putting on the screen, it seems to be only Mishnah 10. And this is still going with the students of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Remember, he had 5 students, and each of them was given the task of telling what was the best thing a person should choose to how to conduct themselves, and then the worst thing. Now it's going to tell us different statements that each of them said. And the Mishnah says, Haim Amru Shalosha Devarim. They said Shlosha repeating here. They said 3 things that each of the 5 students, each said 3 different ideas. And the Mishnah is going to go in order of each of them. So this Mishnah is going to be dealing only with Rabbi Eliezer. And Rabbi Eliezer Omer, we're not going to do the whole thing today. Yehi chavod chavercha chaviv alecho kishalach. The honor of your friend or your fellow should be as precious to you as your own. V'al tehi noach lichos, and you should not get angry easily. Should not be easy to get you angry. That's all we're going to do today. So just go back to the beginning. They said 3 things. Obviously, they said a lot more than 3 things, each of them. So there are couple of different ways of understanding it. One is that um, there were 3. Each of them had certain things that they were like they're always talked about, and each of them had 3 things that were kind of like top of their list of things that they would emphasize. One commentary even says, like, every day these were things that they would kind of say, just to, there's sometimes you have a mantra or something that's going to get you going. So each of them had 3 highlights that they felt were so important that were for them. Another way of looking at it is that there are many things that they said, but this is not referring to things that have to do with the laws of what's permissible and what's not permissible and what's kosher and what's not kosher, things like that. This is in the area of character traits and conduct, etc. So therefore, it's the 3 that we're talking about are only within this category, and of course, there are many other things that they are quoted on in the Mishnah and the Talmud that have to do with laws of whether I say like kashrut, we call isur v'heter, things that are prohibited, things that are permitted, etc., etc. So that's the first one is going to be Rabbi Eliezer, and he says, "Your honor of your friend should be as precious to you as your own." It's actually interesting that so the timing for this during the Sephira period, of course, that where you have the story of the Rabbi Akiva students who all passed away from a plague during this time, and we are taught in the Talmud that it's because there was a certain lack of respect that they gave to each other. So certainly this idea of respecting others and giving them honor is highly important, especially for us to think about at this time. Many of the commentaries, they said they each said 3 things. I didn't read the whole Mishnah today, but if you read the Mishnah, it seems like there are 4 things that are stated. So that what we read today about respecting and giving honor to your friend, as well as not getting angered easily, most commentaries put them together and count that as one thought, one idea. And the concept of that is that it's connected to your getting angry. That if you are a person who is easily going to be getting angry, then it is more likely for you to step on someone else's honor because you're going to lash out. You're going to say things that you shouldn't be saying if you're not in control of your anger. And of course, when you say things like that, that's how you are disrespecting others. So again, it's not limited to your friend, it's to anybody. It means another person. So therefore, the concept of anger is very much linked to having respect for others. There's actually a reverse way of looking at it, which is that if you don't treat, if you're not treating other people well, it's going to lead to getting angry. And that's the Tiferes Yisrael who says what will happen is, if you're not careful at how you speak to someone, or other people are not careful how they speak to you, so what happens is someone says something to that's a little bit insulting. The other person responds with either equal or greater insult, and it gets back and forth, and all of a sudden tempers are flaring, and the next thing you know, you're getting angry. So having a lack of respect for others can lead to people getting angry is another way to look at it. But um, this idea about how we're treating others. So Rabbeinu Yonah points out that this is what we call derech eretz, right? It's the category of derech eretz that person should think about how is it what would I want people to treat me? It's a simple thing, but in terms of honor and respect, what kind of level of respect would I expect? And the honor does not have to mean, also like, putting you on a pedestal. Honor is just basic dignity. How do you treat a person in a way that's not demeaning and is respectful? That's called honor. And how would you like to be treated? And that's how you should treat everyone else as well. Um, One of the things about getting angry is that it's pretty hard not to ever get angry, right? Anger is something that is a bit pretty natural. Uh, However, it is viewed as one of the worst midos. It's one of the worst character traits, and it causes a lot of problems. But since it's something, and the Mishnah did not say don't get angry. The Mishnah said don't be easily angered, right? Don't make it that you're easily angered, and therefore it's understood. Happens that sometimes you're going to get angry, or maybe even sometimes there's a need to have it to express anger, whether or not it's internally or at least just showing it externally. And so the Rebbeinu says, you know what? You can actually think about it. You have to decide, is this something I should be getting angry about? Is this the right thing? Sometimes somebody upsets you and you have to react. No, is this worth reacting to? Is this worth having a strong reaction to? Most of the time it's not. It's not such a big deal. Get over it. And therefore, you are supposed to have the ability to control your feeling in terms of how do I want to react to this situation? Is this something worth getting upset about? And if you have any reason to say, oh yeah, you know what, it's not a big deal. I'm going to avoid getting angry. So that will calm you down. Sometimes there is a reason to get angry that's appropriate. And sometimes you can even maybe feign anger in a way. For example, in a disciplinary situation, sometimes you have to show that you're upset about something in order for the other person to learn a lesson. Again, everything's within being in control. So you have to express it. And the Rebbeinu Yonah also brings out that the Talmud tells us that there are three ways that we can learn about a person. How do you to know what's a person all about? And the Gemara expresses it in a way that sounds very nice in Hebrew: koso, kiso, and kaso. Koso is cups. In other words, when a person drinks too much, how do they what do they get crazy and out of control in a negative manner? Or sometimes you can have someone when they get drunk, they become a pleasant drunk, they become a happy drunk, they become someone who is saying good things, right? So now that their tongue has been loosened, what are they saying and how are they acting? Kiso is with his money. How does the person spend? How do they use their wealth? Are they using it for good things or negative things, stupid things, important things? Right? That's the second. And then the last one is kaso, his anger. How does a person act when they're upset? Are they getting violent? Are they getting mean? Are they taking it out on other people? Or are they in control and being able to deal with it in a manner that is productive, even though they're upset? And that's that's an important way of knowing what your personality is. And again, it shows though that we have control over it. We have the ability to work on ourselves to be in control. The the idea over here is also, as the Rambam says, avoid getting into a situation where you're going to get angry. Stay away from situations. If you know that something's going to upset you, don't put yourself in that situation. And again, it's something with most of the time is within our control. And he also quotes the Gemara that tells us that a person who gets angry is compared to someone who worships idols, because when you get angry, you, in a sense, have lost control, and you're not really worshiping God anymore. You're a slave to your anger in a sense, and you're out of control, and that's a pretty high thing. And Torah looks at being someone getting angry as an abominable type of behavior. That's terrible behavior. Um, and finally, one other thought for today: the Medrash Shmuel points out that he compares anger to salt. Says if you have too much, that you can't eat it. If you have too little, it's bland. You have to have the right mix. And so, in other words, sometimes there is a necessity to express anger or being, that people should know that something is bothering you, but it's how you do it is very important because when you overdo it, you destroy. And if you never are going to be, if you're always going to be on that and no one sees you ever get upset, if something also doesn't really show, doesn't people don't learn that, oh, there's something wrong with their behavior if you never show that you're upset. So it's a matter of being able to balance it and know when is the right time and how much.